quick turnaround lessons to learn, I think, Tetra. 24 hours before they go into this one. And Domination, as always, starting us off, means that it's going to be throwing hands. A lot of throwing hands.
For our American viewers coming in here, it's like these two teams just got hired at a shop and had their first shift be Black Friday. That's what they had to go in here, but now they get their second day to actually lock in to show just what they can do as we head into the draft. And wow, I think I'm getting deja vu again as we're looking at Gambits and Elsa's taken away and protected.
I mean, do Pulsar go for the save here onto Vanguard Deadpool, or do they go for something like the Daredevil for Chabo Group? No, it's actually going to be the Elsa versus Elsa. So we did get to see ALTR Esports rely very heavily on Whoops as Elsa to win them that Marvel Rivals Championship matches back when they played the previous season, and hooray! ALTR ban out the Vanguard Deadpool before Pulsar Esports can use the second lock slot and save it, and also target out the Daredevil as well.
Removing all the red characters, it seems, is the priority in terms of the ban stage at the moment. What I want to point out is Pulsar banning Jeff exceptionally early in these. We've seen him sneak into the bans, but never this far up. And now we're looking at teams looking at Loki, who snuck all the way through up to this point. And Pulsar have the opportunity to, if they want to take some keys from earlier, looking at potential Adam compositions. And if not, then just having some anti-dive with that regen domain.
I mean, do ALTR Esports get forced now into banning the Mantis, or do you let... Oh, maybe you go for the Groot, actually, because, I mean, when you have a Vanguard player called Tree Man, I imagine it's a giveaway, right? What Vanguard do you typically see him play? But he is a very good Angela flex as well if his main staple gets banned out, something which ALTR Esports are hyper aware of, given that we see the next save slot going towards the Invisible Woman, which will prove to be problematic if Tree Man does indeed flex to the flyer.
Both teams end up getting the Loki, despite the fact only one side banned it out. But one team has the option for Loki Mantis. The other team has the option for Loki Groot. So there is actually flexibility on both sides. There's only one team banned each one. However, Elsa's secured on both sides immediately. It means we're going to have a lot of dueling. This is another map with some solid verticality. And you start to look at those front lines. You start to wonder who's going dive and who's going a little bit more sustaining.
I mean, it feels like Chabagoob's going to be Wolverine no matter what, right? Daredevil getting banned out. ALTR Esports likely going to be fielding a dive of their own. And we saw earlier on in the previous series, Venom is very vulnerable to Wolverine getting grabbed when he goes for those hits. As it looks like ALTR Esports are going to be playing a split, very similar to Pulsar Esports, actually. But Treeman can be a lot more individual when it comes to going in and displacing ALTR Esports players, so that both this Wolverine and Elsa can get more places to work.
We'll see what gets fully locked in when the doors do open, but reminder that these two teams have yet to win a series. Obviously, it's only day 2. It's very early doors, but this is an important win to try and get yourself in a position to make your way out of those groups and into the playoffs for that chance at even more prize money and a higher position in the Ignite EMEA League when that comes around. Looking at these openers, team captain on the Captain America, going for even more sustain for the team, and Monarch is giving us to them more.
Pulsar Esports already going to be rotating underneath the point itself, so bunkering up, which does mean that ALTR Esports lose the opportunity to dive into them with the Captain America at early doors. Sapatic just trying to duel out as well, breaking through these shields, trying to put the pressure onto the duelists, waiting for Treeman to find a good displacement on the Angela, as it feels like we're just in a game of tug of war right now, Tetra, although Pulsar Esports just lost a chunk of space on that one, given the fact that they had to burn regeneration domain early.
Treeman just got absolutely juggled, came on in, got knocked up once, and then got pulled in by the Invisible Woman Doctor Strange team up, but was able to get away. Not so lucky for Lapsus as they're taken out with that Vibranian Saw from Team Captain, who is now continuing to pile on some pressure into the backline, leaving all the opportunity needed for Whoops to just have full freedom. The splitting of attention is what's so powerful with these dive compositions. And yeah, El Chabagoom knows its doom. Reset, jump off the map, rejoin your team.
Yeah, ALTR Esports, I mean, they had the Venom open, they could have opted for it, but Team Captain going for the Captain America actually far benefits the playstyle when Pulsar Esports try to bunker below the point, because as you said, it's a little bit more sustained, it's a lot brawlier up against both the strategists, and also you're not relying on swinging off of the walls to disengage, so if you get caught out by a ceiling, Captain America does not have any concerns. We are going to see Treeman clash with Team Captain on the side lane, however, making sure that it's a little bit safer for Pulsar Esports to move out from choke and onto the actual point itself.
Pressure onto Loki in the backline, but they're very mobile, able to escape and regen domain. Was forced out though, and all this pressure forcing up the jump. Treeman is doing a lot of work without burning almost any resource at this point. Immediately Lapsus is going to go for the Eternal Bond, mirrored by Hatro. So both of them with the God of Mischief for the extra stain. Gartrox comes on out and sends E-Cube and Hatro off the map, and El Chabagoob goes down with them. That's going to be a 3-for-2 in favor of Pulsar, and they're cleaning out the few remaining members, looking for the split to get their first percentage on the board.
I believe that was actually a sacrificial play from Chabagoob. Feral Lunge taking Hatro off of the map to deny the God of Mischief's Eternal Bond uptime, so that Pulsar Esports can finally find this point flip. Monarch's not going to have these angles developed, plus this is Horn of Proteus against a Loki with Regeneration Domain, so it shouldn't find eliminations unless ALTR can force out the cooldown first. Freedom Charge allows ALTR Esports to break out onto the point itself, but Chabagoob comes on for the last stand, trying to take advantage of everyone playing inside the Captain America stripes.
Doesn't find anything though, meaning ALTR are able to push on in. Horn of Proteus, but like you said, Regen Domain shuts it down. Team Captain though, with the team split from the Horn of Proteus, is able to find Legend off on the side. Meteor M directly on top. Regen Domain lost just long enough to allow them to sustain on through, but it's going to be the pickups from ALTR. They out-sustain, they are holding the fight. Legend does have ultimate, but they were picked off early in the fight, meaning they won't be here to use it, and that's forcing Pulsar to back up, give up the space, and reset.
One more fight, potentially as well, given the fact that ALTR Esports are going to hold Pulsar Esports at the choke, trying to force the Legend into burning that Eternal Bond so that Exo can have Invisible Boundary be a little bit safer of an investment when the fight moves on to the point itself, although both of these Elses are about to hit their ultimates. Whoops already has his, so keep your eye on that one. Glartrox, I'm sure, could play a foul fiend to the strategist uses.
And here it comes, right to the edge. See you later, and Whoops nails it again. Takes out Kizaru and continues to pile pressure onto the front line. Anyone who tries to step onto the point sends the smoke bomb into the back. It's caught on one themselves. 8 HP! Whoops is on the run, looking for the health pack to try and keep themselves in, but makes it back to their team and trades out onto Legend. Invisible Boundary comes out from Lapsus to try and keep the team topped up. Apex Predator from Sapatic, but won't find the pickup. Treeman is still doing a lot of work here, but the portal comes in for Kizaru, meaning Pulsar are back as 6, but losing 2 immediately.
I mean, Hatro gets the God of Mischief copy onto Invisible Boundary. ALTR Esports didn't have all of their players diminished from the portal regroup, and they should be able to stabilize past Pulsar Esports recontest. Exo deals with Treeman, so no Angela, no opportunity to stall on the point. It falls instead to more static players to have to hold their ground, something that ALTR Esports will just take angles against and pick apart. And they are going to be able to clean up the first round on Celestial Husk, taking us now to Celestial Vault.
Nice start by ALTR. Pulsar were able to flip it back at least a little bit part way, and I do want to continue to draw attention to Treeman. They're creating a lot of space for their team, but ALTR are able to capitalize more often. Team Captain has been grabbing quite a few eliminations just by themselves, taking advantage of the fact that Pulsar Esports are having to play around Monarch, looking for those quick blow-ups with flanking them more. The fact that Whoops is just detonating the front line every time they step up means Team Captain has full freedom to just pressure that backline, and there's not really much Pulsar can really do about it.
I mean, ALTR Esports also have more range, right? So when the Captain America goes in, 2 duelists can capitalize off of the space created. Pulsar Esports, on the other hand, Sapatic can take advantage of the distraction that Treeman is giving. Chabagoob has to play more reactive when ALTR Esports close up the distance with the Captain America. And Team Captain's doing a very good job of getting in, then getting out without the Wolverine getting the opportunity to do that. As we're actually going to see Treeman off of the Angela this time and onto the the Magneto. Kizaru instead goes to the Venom, as, yeah, at this point, really, really good for Venom Stall. You will see him just continue to run up that tree route and remain a stalwart presence on the point itself.
Trying to be incredibly irritating while also doing a lot of pressure onto that backline. You can see Exo just looking at Cap, making sure they can pile the pressure on Kizaru and Freeman. Both dropped low, but healed back up. Good positioning by Pulsar right now, making the most of this cave to keep the heal output going. But Sapatic just eats a couple hits, has to back up, meaning that Whoops is keeping them so marked right now to keep that pressure on. And of course, that low-key firing squad from Hatro is doing a lot of work. Freedom Charge to commit into the backline. Last stand from Otama Goob, but is getting focused down beautifully. Horde of Proteus once again going to be blocked by that regeneration domain, but it's enough to lock down Kizaru. But there's Hatro taken down. Whoops falls as well as Pulsar. They sustain through the push in of Alter Esports and flip it beautifully.
Yeah, Exo gets the invisible boundary bolts up from the space that Team Captain buys with the Freedom Charge. Sapatic catches players from Alter Esports before they can get inside it, though. So they'll be able to win out that fight and now claim control of all of this space, which is perfect. Kizaru can go in, soft dive, force out things like the regeneration domain from Hatro before Alter Esports can commit to a fight, and all the while you're buying the time for Sapatic and Shabogoop to just do what they do best. The Wolverine to deal with the Venom, and the Elsa to decimate whatever shows up in her path. Early Feast of the Abyss forces out the regeneration domain coming on from Hatro. He's okay parting with that cooldown. He does have the God of Mischief ready to walk Alter Esports forward. The problem is, he only gets an Invisible Woman to copy, and now you have to go into the Apex Predator.
GPRM coming on in from Z-Cube, looking for a defensive lead, but the team is already able to escape, so just sends it, grabs the Legend. Whoops able to get the pick up there. Ochama Goon finished off as well, and Alter, after a little bit of a rough start, are starting to try and hold this fight back. They do lose Hatro, but numbers are very heavily in their favor. Right now it's all delay. Kizaru doing exactly what you're saying, going for a lovely jog, trying to just delay as long as they can. Both Vanguards do go down. Portal comes back in to keep it going. 60% has been gathered as Pulsar keep it going. Finally, the point's going to be flipped, and I think that's probably going to be the end of the Portal re-engage.
That could have been absolutely wild. Like, if they'd been able to get Lapsus through the portal with regeneration domain and build up God of Mischief, you're looking at least 10, maybe 20% more point percentage stall on the side of Pulsar Esports, and a lot of ultimates burned from Alter just to guarantee that they find the flip. They at least get to hold on to those ultimates, as do the Shabogoop get to hold on to Team Captain. Wonderful grab coming on through from the Feral Grab, but bubbled by Z-Cube with the Bulwark, so it instead turns onto Sapatic instead. Elsa, from the distance, unfortunately does lose out to the Namor.
Namor with that range and with the counter dive is having a lovely time right now. We're seeing it creeping into games every now and again. It's not perfect for every matchup, but when it works, it's working beautifully. And Monarch once again showing just how versatile they are as a player for Alter Esports. Here comes the Legend, going to be pulling the trigger first with the Eternal Bond, the invisible boundary for Exo. Monarch looks for an ultimate, but is actually going to get stunned out, but didn't lose the cooldown as he did not finish the cast. Second Eternal Bond from Hatro with the God of Mischief, keeping that chain together. Labs is going to drop theirs a little bit later, and just in time though to keep Treeman and Kizaru topped up, and immediately Alter are backing up. They've realized that they've lost the timing duel when it comes to ultimate duration, and they are chased down, losing 4 members. That's going to be another flip in favor of Pulsar, but Alter, they are delaying this for as long as they can.
Regeneration domain, since Alter Esports are still in control at this point, that sets up yet again for Team Captain to throw himself onto the objective and stall it for just a little bit more. 82% picked up, so within Final Fight territory if Alter Esports are able to complete a flip now. Pulsar Esports are going to hold a little bit closer, making sure that they catch out Team Captain's wraparound, so no opportunity for the Venom to draw out the attention by threatening a back cap.
Apex Predator comes on out, so Legend picked off Z-Cube with the follow-up and is now acting as the front line, the Vanguard to literally break through the siege. Monarch punishing Kizaru as they move onto the backline. The power of the Namor just piling damage on the second you try to step too close, and now it's all about Alter taking the most of the advantage they have. They've got momentum, they've got speed, and they know their opponents do not have Portal. So it's all about cleaning them off the board, get the flip up to 84%. Pulsar, they've got to reach the point, and as such, Kizaru on that Venom and Treeman moving over to the Angela. Speed is now of the essence.
Yeah, especially when it comes to trying to cut ALTR Esports before Exo can build Invisible Boundary. I mean, if you're Sapatic, you might just use Apex Predator now to guarantee you can find the eliminations on a far overextended team captain. The Venom is gone. ALTR Esports' only vanguard is going to be Z-Cube with a reliance on the Meteor M for self-sustainability. It's traded though. Kizaru also falls on the side of Pulsar Esports, and now we have to see Treeman look for the stall. Z-Cube with the Meteor M isn't able to land it. Whoops takes down Sapatic though, and this is ALTR Esports leading the charge in terms of damage potential. Lapsus has the sustainability with the copy onto the Eternal Bond, and Pulsar Esports might look to stabilize as Monarch looks to stop it. Comes on through with the Horn approach, is trying to catch the Loki as he comes out of the dash animation. Last time from Chabagoo is brilliant, sets up the elimination onto Z-Cube, and ALTR Esports are stalled out of utilizing their ultimates with the amount of stuns coming through from both sides.
Overtime is ticking down. There's not much left of the reinforcement as the defenses are going down. The boundary is buying it, but Team Captain is melted through, and Pulsar hold the point with one last flip. And we have a series within our first map. Pulsar not going down without a fight.
This might be where we see that group ban fully come into play against the side of Pulsar Esports. Because this is the map where you get to see so much bunker as opposed to the dive, since there's just so much focus in being able to hold your position inside those small rooms with ceilings. So I think like Team Captain, he can stick with the Captain America and go for a Brawlier style. The Venom is going to have a little bit of a harder time being able to get cleanly in and out, especially if ALTR Esports continue running both the Loki, the Invisible Woman, and the Namor, all of which takes chunks out of the Venom's hide, which is why Kizaru is going to be playing the Emma Frost instead.
Considering a swap over to the White Queen there for a little bit of lockdown with that Carbon Crush to potentially punish the Captain America and build up as much charge in the front line. ALTR also good to adjust though. Team Captain looking at the Magneto, and we're back on Benjamin Grimm. The Thing has returned to try and just make El Chapagoob's day bad.
Yeah, Wolverine can't grab a rock. And that's what Z-Cube is looking to be in terms of presence for his team. You are going to be absolute battery charge for Sapatic on the Elsa, though. As we're seeing, Whoops actually prioritize taking the high ground. They're letting Pulsar Esports take the low, and prioritizing getting Whoops into a position to put pressure on every single player.
Pressure on from the high ground into the Carbon Crush. One of the few things that can grab a rock takes them down. Z-Cube burst off the board, and ALTR immediately giving up on the Thing are starting to bring out the Groot. It is time, and they've got that Namor already building up towards an ultimate at 85%. Just detonates Lapsus from a bomb, showing the power of flanking Namor as they continue to go for squid bombs, blowing everyone up on the point.
Yeah, but Pulsar got the flip.
Forced to re-engage.
Pulsar got the cap despite losing their Loki, although they're currently down their Loki, who was closer to his strategist ultimate, which is why ALTR Esports are continuing to push aggressively through. Horn approaches to try and catch the disengagement, but Treeman gets to hold the space for the rest of his team with the Meteor M pushing them back into the recontest before ALTR Esports can complete the flip.
Generation Domain comes on out, Meteor M looking to send it into the choke point, won't find any targets. That's going to allow Lapsus to come on out with the Eternal Bond. Copied with the God of Mission to try and capitalize. Apex Predator grabs two, and Pulsar holding this beautifully. Their defense is doing a huge work, and ALTR forced off the board. They are starting to get these ultimates built up. They have their own Apex Predator. They have Straggling Prison, and they're halfway towards a horde of Proteus, but they can't break through the initial setup. The Emma and the Magneto are creating too much space, and if they get too far forward, Wolverine's picking them up.
Not just that, Sonic Seduction, Pulsar Esports start off the fight instantly, stopping ALTR Esports from being able to walk, since this now allows El Chabagoob to build up Last Stand to interfere with Exo's Invisible Boundary. This is a very rough walk commitment on the side of ALTR Esports, who have to rely on Apex Predator. They're looking to heal through it. So Legend with the Eternal Bond commits the ultimate to try to keep Pulsar Esports standing, but there's just too much incoming damage, and the rest of the players are forced to kite out instead.
Pressure onto the point. Wolverine takes to the sky. Where'd he go? Gonna be forced into the air, but is taken down on the way down. Kizaru falls as well, and ALTR finally get the flip, but on 88%, Pulsar have all the time in the world. to try and reclaim this, but they've got to be careful on this approach. Strangling Present Order Proteus at the ready, and all they currently have is Last Stand. This is all about Pulsar just trying to poke on in and build up ult charge.
Kazar is Venom.
He's back on Venom.
Yeah, they're taking away the angle development. ALTR Esports with the Namor need the angles developed for the duelists to find space to get to do anything, but their attention is split because of Kizaru on that Venom pulling everyone back and looking at it instead. Meanwhile, El Chabagoob is closing up the distance, looking for a grab onto Team Captain, who does get hit by the Feral Grab, but does manage to self-sustain with both the healing as well as that Bulwark, and Whoops has been able to deal with Kizaru, who back half attempt, tried, failed, back onto the Emma we go.
Whoops, developing angles of their own there. Beautifully done. Like I said, back onto the Emma just to make sure they can keep some lockdown going. And of course, build a lot of charge on those group walls to potentially punish that freeze, the Flora Colossus. As Sabatic looks for the opening. Here comes the God of Mischief into the Eternal Bond for the setup. Pulsar have chosen their opportunity to try and make something happen here. Invisible Boundary comes on out. Meteor M won't find a target, but Apex Predator will, forcing them all the way to the edge. 2 down, and Pulsar might have found an opening. Beautiful chase by Sabatic, and ALTR Esports might be forced to portal because that's going to be a flip on 88%, and Team Captain's pulling the trigger. It's time for the portal.
It's time for the portal, but unfortunately they just lost the Hatro, so they're going to have to wait for the respawn time of the Loki if they even afforded it. No, overtime's about to hit. They have to go through, missing a member directly into the Last Stand. Chabagoob comes on through with the pin. Without the Loki, you don't have the regeneration domain, so you're down your setup tool of the Strangling Prison, and Horner Proteus catches very little. Apex Predator from Whoops attempted to turn the fight, but it's just not enough. And Pulsar Esports, this is them just finishing off the round in style.
What a recovery. That looked like from the first point that ALTR might have had Pulsar Esports game, but the flip in those last 2 rounds was beautifully done. We saw a little bit of struggle, like you said, that swap onto the Venom, trying to just prevent everyone being grouped up for the angles while putting that pressure onto the Namor. Got absolutely punished by Whoops. But the capitalization of that final push and then being able to hold through the portal, El Chabagoob making that Wolverine so worth it. Able to just pick up ZQ, preventing any straggling prisons, which means Monarch just had to blindly horn, and the Whale found nothing. Rough one for ALTR Esports, but Pulsar, an incredible showcase of how to deal with stressful situations.
Yeah, and I mean, ALTR Esports, maybe if they'd won first fight on that last round, it would have been a different story, because, like, they ran into the same problem that players trying to run Hulk Namor previously when we had the Gamma Monstro team up in play ran into on Domination in particular. It takes so much time to be able to develop those angles for the Namor to actually get anything done, and Pulsar Esports was so good at punishing that hesitation, being able to catch mid-rotation before the Namor was able to get any of the damage that ALTR Esports were looking for.
I wanted to point out Lapsus Atilis 50,000 healing that he was able to output, and like you could sort of see like Monarch and Whoops were able to output a lot of the damage, and El Chabagoob couldn't keep up as much, but it felt like just having that melee character of Chabagoob, certainly for those last 2 points, to create that space, especially on like Celestial Hand where you can just like leap in and take those fights. It did occur to me that ALTR Esports haven't played any like melee characters like the Daredevil and stuff. The closest thing that they got to, I think, was like Psylocke in that first Domination. And it also might explain why we've not seen ZQ pick up the Hulk, which I think is what he was sort of a little bit more known for. So now it is the choice of like ALTR Esports to go to a map. It was Museum of Contemplation last time, but after you see El Chabagoob happy to play the Wolverine and the Daredevil, you might want to reconsider. It's hard to know. We'll see exactly where ALTR Esports want to take us, whether it's going to be Convoy or Convergence, after a quick break.
I'm trying to help.
Lights out. Suffer in the darkness. Let's pop back up under their noses. Us against the world!
My time to shine.
Behold, Dark Child! Survive this!
We are going to Jalia. It's kind of what we sort of said of like, if ALTR Esports want to go Museum of Contemplation, you're just giving Chabagoob like the reins on playing Wolverine, certainly on that first point. ALTR Esports decided to go to not only a different map, but a different game mode with Convergence. Most teams going for Convoy. So ALTR Esports also choosing to defend first. So Pulsar need to be the ones to keep that momentum going in their favor, Tetcher. And I think this is the kind of result that you want to start on, considering that both teams lost domination and lost 0-2 in their first series.
Yeah, no, the fact that you did take a round is going to be good news. Obviously, you'd prefer a map win, but ALTR are still showing a lot of strength here, and now they're on their map choice, their side choice, choosing to start on defense. And you got to talk about, like, this our big fears when it comes to Convergence, because we haven't seen it that much. The versatility of some of these lockdown compositions, the potential of triple strategist flyers, the potential of revives, just so many options. But playing on this map, you have potentially a couple more options. There's a little bit less verticality than, say, for example, a Central Park, so you don't have to worry as much about flyers, but they're obviously still a threat. There's a couple less places for Adam to hide, but he can fly now, so he still has the versatility there. It's just like a little bit less stressful than some of the other options, so I don't hate it.
I mean, it's also a way of avoiding the Wolverine being like the name of the composition without having to burn a ban draft on it. Because like we were talking in the break, right? You can ban out Chabagoob's Daredevil. You absolutely cannot burn a second ban on his dealers lineup by taking out the Wolverine. Just take them to a map where Wolverine will struggle when we go into the second and third parts of the map and you're defending, and you can lengthen out the distance and pick him off before he can pick you up.
It would be entertaining, though, to see the magic actually come out as the only option for Chabagoob, but I don't know.
Iron Fist. He's played the Iron Fist too.
There is the Iron Fist, and Iron Fist like has got some good elements of verticality, getting around the map as well, like attacking on Jalia. You never realistically know. But I think the hard thing here for Pulsar is like for ALTR Esports, I had a quick look through their MRC run to qualify for this event. We didn't see Jalia once. It was a lot of like Museum of Contemplation, a lot of domination maps, a lot of convoy full stop. So ALTR Esports pulling something out that they've probably been cooking in the meantime, and a tough map. It is really like a new team mechanics coordination check for Jalia, because Moxie, if you're no good on it, you get full held, you get pushed to the end of the map.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're okay on it, you get through first point, and then you get held on second for 4 minutes plus. We'll have to see, as yeah, it is one of those just like rules of the universe, rules of Marvel Rivals universes, at least as we get ready to go into that ban draft. And I am sure we're going to be seeing a very big focus around Chabo Goop's hero pool, since Pulsar Esports ban out the Gambit first, and then instantly save the Daredevil. So, you know, we were talking about, hey, Wolverine is really bad on this map. Daredevil's great on this map. Pulsar Esports are going to be feeling incredibly happy.
Being able to scout your opponents out, being able to dive the chase onto the backlines. People like to retreat either into that central building or down the ramp off to the left on the main objective. So being able to pursue is going to be fantastic for Pulsar. They don't even have to commit to it. We've talked about it. There are other dive options as well. Ryan mentions the Magic. This is actually one of the first maps we really saw Magic start to come in from Virtus Pro in a previous MRC, when they decided to run a Magic in this map for Sparker and just absolutely wreck everyone in their way. But in this case, the Daredevil gives them a lot more options, and more importantly, gives them information.
Speaking about options, Pulsar Esports actually were debating on the options there for that last ban, thinking about, do we go for the Mantis so we can target out a triple strategist look, since it is Convergence, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of flyer compositions pop on through, especially on first, where there's a lot of natural cover for the flyers to be able to keep themselves safe from. And given the fact that ALTR Esports see, okay, it was a ban onto the Jeff, which depowers the Venom dive, they might be leaning towards that triple strategist line, especially since we have the Elsa early save coming through from their team. So not only would you be able to get a triple strategist line, you'd also be able to give that Elsa Bloodstone 12% damage boost.
Immediate panic ban coming in from Pulsar. They take out the Loki. You see that Mantis, the Loki could be on the board for just giving that extra Deitific vitality, but also at risk of Adam Warlock copies on a revive for just going maximum all in on a little bit of a triple strategist with high damage and revive potential. It is a fantastic ban from Pulsar, but now they could potentially get their hands on the Loki themselves, because while ALTR have been able to get themselves a Mantis protection-wise, they haven't banned it either. So now they have to consider, do they ban Mantis to deal with that Loki combo? Do they ban Adam to prevent revives? What direction do you want to take this? They're looking at Cloak and Dagger. They don't want to deal with the sustain, and they will be taking that away.
I mean, honestly, getting Loki for a ban draft on Hall of Djali is a huge win. This is one of his best maps. If you manage to take one fight on second, you have so much range to be able to just rain absolute fire against the attacking side walking out of spawn, to the point that we get to see a lot of like Helen, Name, or Phoenix as well getting played on this map for a very similar reason. And given that Sapatic was banned out of the Elsa Bloodstone, he turns instead to the next hyper carry duelist, which is going to be able to keep up with the range Hall of Djali plays to, given the fact that Phoenix's fall off was adjusted in earlier patches. But you know what, we saw the Mantis make it through, and Tetcha, yet again, we talked about it. We said that there was a chance. It's Mantis, but it's not with the Atom. It's once again with the Ultron. This time, no Human Torch, though. He's been extinguished.
Not go for a full flyer, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We're going to get the Angela, we're going to get the Ultron, and with damage boost, not just going to help onto that Elsa Bloodstone, who does already insane damage, add some damage boost on top of that with the Mantis Inspire. It's going to be tough to deal with, but people do forget Ultron is a hit scan character with a pretty solid burst damage. If you're able to keep that Encephalo Ray onto your opponents for the entire duration, you can get a quick blow up, especially with Inspire.
Yeah, and now you get to have 2 separate drones as well, so you can give one to your Angela, one to your Venom, and literally just assign one lane. Like, Angela guards the high left window, Venom guards main, and you all communicate to where Pulsar Esports are going to be rotating from. Although Shabagoop will have the drop on ALTR Esports' position, given the fact that he's playing Daredevil. He literally gets to see where exactly this defense is positioned and how that they can put the pressure on the backline, which is why we're seeing ALTR Esports really hold close to a health pack and inside a room with a ceiling to make sure that Pulsar Esports can't commit the dive just yet.
Getting dove onto, there is going to be a commitment, and the chase is good, forcing them away from their backline as ALTR gonna get zoned back, forced off the board. They've lost their main damage output, but Mantis and the Ultron do still do quite a chunk themselves, as well as that Angela and the Venom. But for now, it's just going to be a retreat. Wait, reset, try and let Elsa make their way back into the fight so that you can re-engage together. And that's going to be Angela trying to put some pressure onto the Invisible Woman in the backline as Pulsar already building up towards that third tick. Team captain diving onto the point, gets deleted immediately there. Beautiful follow-up from Pulsar, and with that, Ulta are forced off the point, and they already lose that first objective.
It's a brilliant first fight coming up from Pulsar Esports. They see that the strategist line is going to be too defensively favored. They're not going to be able to find eliminations in time. What they see instead is isolated Whoops alone on the field on the Elsa and dive the duelist instead. Since they didn't contribute any damage that was healed, ALTR Esports had no strategist ultimates to try to play a recontest with once they break away from Garage, and Pulsar Esports are free to pick up the first checkpoint and free to move into second as team captain is going to swap onto the 4. This is something that we said to keep an eye out when these teams try to run things like the Angela dive.
But while they're trying to go for a little bit of anti-dive, trying to go for a little bit of pressure on the backline themselves, their backline is just getting cleaned up. El Chabagoon finally falls after piling on all that pressure. And Ulta, this is what they wanted to do earlier. Ping from a distance, make the most of their sustain and that damage boost, and clean people up as they try to progress. And it was very well executed. But so much distance has already been gained by Pulsar, and they've still got 4 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, Rage of Ultron 2 is available for Hatro, but that should be absorbed right away by Kizaru with the Meteor M, allowing both the Legend and Lapsus Sotilas to hold their ultimates as we get the Star-Lord swap from Sapatic. They've spotted that it's an Ultron, and they want to use the Star-Lord and the Angela to put the pressure onto it so that ALTR Esports can't survive off of the greater sustain with a triple strategist line. Chabagoob's getting ready to go into position. There's the dive for ALTR Esports. Go for the dive first. Z-Cube hits the backline with the Feast of the Abyss and takes a massive chunk out of the Invisible Woman. Invisible Boundary denied. Lapsus also denied a position of getting a God of Mischief copy off.
Monarch's on a different hero again and is still getting pickups. The Mantis getting a pickup onto the Star-Lord mid-air on a projectile character. Beautiful setup here as team captain makes the most of the fact that Ulta has got some momentum back in their favor. Chases down, and this is Ulta in a great position right now. They're staggering, they're capitalizing, and they're keeping Pulsar off that point. They've burned through their first minute already, and they still have every ultimate available except for that Feast from the Abyss.
First minute burn through. Let's see if they can complete the full 3 minutes that we talked about to see if it really is the role of the Marvel Rivals universe. Whoops just taking chunks out of Pulsar Esports as they walk up. As Pulsar Esports, they're poking, they're prodding, they're building up a bank of 6 ultimates to commit forward. There's the Rage of Ultron, absorbed partly by the Meteor, and right on top of Monarch Soul Resurgence. ALTR Esports, in the blink of an eye, lose 2 strategist ults, and Pulsar Esports finally gain the space they were looking for.
Pulsar not really taking low KO fights. They just seem to be getting fights where they either take out everyone or almost no one. But it works. They get the pickups. They're now moving forward with 2 people on the... Oh, sorry, 1 person the local clone. I got baited. God of Mischief indeed. As they set themselves up to try and deal with Ulta as they make their way out of spawn. Utilizing this Gene Prey to set up... Release your own life essence. Taken down immediately. Sapatic, what a shot.
Oh, Sapatic taking the Elsa out mid-cast of Apex Predator, so Glortrox just gets cancelled. ALTR Esports do at least have Invisible Boundary, could potentially use it to try and stabilize and make a play for the faster regroup with their closer spawns, but yet again, Pulsar Esports go for the play first. Aggressive Invisible Boundary, slowing ALTR Esports, forcing EXO to have to equalize, all the while Sapatic is holding the ultimate Tetcher. The moment ALTR Esports boundary drops, Pulsar Esports will make a play forward with the end song to finish the fight.
DQ back onto the point, has Feast of the Abyss, but right now it's just making sure that they can keep bodies on the board and pressure that backline, trying to get onto Lapsus to take them down. Team captain falls from Sapatic. Hatro's doing a great job of marking Sapatic, but just can't seem to get the finishing blows. Kizaru is taken down as Ulta are stabilizing here and keeping that pressure onto the board. Sapatic takes some damage once again from Hatro, but trades out beautifully using the Daredevil as cover.
You are
Oh, they got Hatro, which means no Rage of Ultron. Ensong hits both of the backline, forcing ALTR Esports strategists out of the fight, which means the Z-Cube is going to be incredibly vulnerable. Has to try to back up to get fully healed from his team, and so Legend will be able to have the invisible boundary to react once Hatro respawns and comes back through with the Rage of Ultron to open the fight for the defense.
Defender comes on in, invisible boundary forced out with Rage of Ultron. Not going to be able to find much in the boundary due to the amount of healing output it will get here. The Legend playing the low ground, Guardian Barrier, making sure that their people on the high ground are healed up. Treeman dropped low though, Whoops with the chase once again, continues to duel. Media M comes on out, but there's going to be very few people to follow up on it. Only Z-Cube is taken down, God of Thunder to keep this push going, and that's going to force Pulsar to back up and regroup with only 12 seconds remaining. They're out of time. Someone's going to have to die for this.
Invisible boundary comes on through from Lapsus just in time, but Whoops adjusts his position. So the Glortrox curves. It drifts outside of the invisible boundary reach, and the eliminations come through on ALTR's side. Monarch with the Soul Resurgence pushes into Pulsar's team, making sure that there is no regroup, no position of safety for the backline to stabilize the front line. And this is an overtime that will end before Kizaru's portal comes through. What an adjustment from Whoops to be able to circumvent the invisible boundary.
That was beautiful. That's one of the joys you can see from Elsa. You will see these good Elsa players really adjust exactly where they want that Glortrox to end. If you can get it outside invisible boundary, that's a fantastic way to do so. We've talked about ways in the last patch during MLC of how to deal with that Glortrox, and we were talking about stuff that goes with the Glortrox. Boundary doesn't. That's a static defense. If you're outside it, you're in danger. And the danger was absolutely on the side of ALTR. But Pulsar, they did break the first point, and they did get distance on the board here. So this is now ALTR being forced to try and match.
I mean, ALTR Esports, though, it looks like we're just going to be seeing a continuation of the triple strategist. Z-Cube, honestly, has been doing such a good job as well of just going into that backline and preventing Pulsar Esports making plays. Like, Pulsar Esports, they're the ones who actually have all of the information when these fights start, right? Chabagoob on the Daredevil literally just exists and knows exactly where everyone from ALTR Esports is playing. Therefore, they should be faster at being able to set up for these dive hits. But Z-Cube is just like going in, going out, disrupting the backline, and allowing the rest of ALTR Esports team so much more space, and their backline the ability to know when the Daredevil's committing, and having that knowledge, being able to kite the dive and survive.
Kiting the dive is so important in this current patch, being able to avoid getting picked off early. The portals still being as important as they ever have been. You don't want to burn them early just because someone gets caught out and taken out quickly. Thor up to the high ground. ALTR Esports looking for their first opening. Treeman, once again, living up to their name, setting up those Wildwood walls to put some pressure onto the board and punish anyone who steps through those open doorways. As right now, it is going to be that main hallway, not the first tunnel that ALTR tried to break through, but Pulsar not giving them a single inch here, have been able to take down Team Captain and force a little bit of a soft reset.
Yeah, Sapatek's a real problem on the Phoenix at the moment with the amount of reach that he has. Hatro's trying to challenge it, but you have to be very, very careful, especially since Chabagoob is just waiting for that finish to draw attention, close up the distance, and be even more of a problem for ALTR Esports backline to deal with. Z-Cube's the real engagement option, really, unless you're just waiting for Hatro to build Rage of Ultron and go with that first, because unfortunately, Lapsus is actually keeping pace with the Ultron's charge right now.
That drone onto Z-Cube so they can keep that sustain going. A very aggressive over the Groot wall engage from Woods, putting themselves in so much danger for the capitalization, and they almost get punished for it. Backing out, barely kept up, but their strategists have arrived to keep them healed so they can push in for that backline. Lapsus is dropped low, able to get away, but it's going to be the Magneto who will fall. Kizaru going to be forced to portal back in, and Treeman may have to join them as they're taken down again. Dive counter coming back in as the invisible boundary from Lapsus to keep that sustain going and give time for the reinforce. This will allow Pulsar to hold, but ALTR are just able to back away calmly. They've still got 2 minutes.
I mean, they still got Rage of Ultron. Hatro didn't use his ultimate to force it out. Instead, Pulsar had to commit it to be able to hold the point long enough for the portal. So ALTR Esports disengage the invisible boundary, come back with Rage of Ultron, and pick up 2 eliminations. Ensong does claim Z-Cube, but is it enough for Pulsar Esports? It cost them the invisible boundary. Whoops tries to go for the Apex Predator to grab them all out of it, and it takes them off of the point, which means that ALTR Esports pick up first and now head into second. Pulsar Esports, these both strategist ults in that fight as well, Tetcher. So snowball momentum fully on ALTR Esports side.
Freeman with that group was trying to delay, was trying to block out as ALTR were able to re-engage after that portal came in. But unfortunately, we found out what the biggest counter to our wall is, and it's going over it. Rage of Ultron just able to siege in from above, break open that hold, and by that point, no one was able to reach in time. Boundary used and not even getting the point held because of it. A rough situation for Pulsar to find themselves in, but they've let the Devil out. They choose to try and take some momentum back, but they lose Daredevil, and ALTR are just capitalizing. Every time Pulsar run at them, they seem to gain a little bit more.
I mean, Chabagoop tries to let the Devil out, and Team Captain packs it back into the box with Heaven's Retribution. Just putting him in his place. ALTR Esports, like, they still have invisible boundary. They didn't have to use it because, like we said, the Daredevil was forced back. This is literally just honestly finishing off the fight at this point. Hatro clears up Tree Man. ALTR Esports have that invisible boundary if they want to go aggressive. You're just dealing with the regeneration domain before you decide to walk forward and make a play with the one-sided Mantis and the Venom occupying Pulsar Esports whole back line.
Venom, of course, is one of their main disengaged tools as they get caught out by the Angela. Feast of the Abyss going to come in. They will get some bonus health, but now they don't have the swing. Taken down. Kizaru burst off the point by Woops, who's just about to get an Apex Predator. Looking at the choke point, they've already taken down 2. Waiting for the re-engage, waiting for the boundary to expire. If they step up, they're in danger, but the finish line is there. They have to commit. Rage of Ultron into the backline. Venom for the zone. Takes 1. Boundary. Apex Predator to force them off the point, to send them all the way back. And now it's the last second reinforces. Tree Man comes in on the strange GSI of Okamoto, but can't drop the shield because the damage is too much. And Pulsar are zoned off the point, taken down one by ALTR Esports.
Oh, the end song Inferno as well doesn't manage to connect. And ALTR Esports cleanly sweep through Hall of Djalia at honestly such a steamroll speed. They looked insanely strong, both on the defense and on the offense, with the triple strategist setup with the Mantis and the Ultron. Like I said, Woops might be picking up the MVP, no surprises. It's also Bloodstone. The amount of statistics that we're about to see is about to be crazy. But like, the unsung hero truly is Z-Cube. That Venom going in, getting the space for the team, only going down a sum total of 4 times as well, really allowed ALTR Esports to hit their stride.
Give the newest player to the team as well, joining right as they qualify for Ignite and showing up here, doing so much work. The pressure on the backline was great. Hatro being able to adjust onto an Ultron as a strategist main because you have a player like Monarch on your team who's just that flexible. He plays everything. Can we name another player who has played literally every single role in the Marvel Rivals Ignite? He's played Vanguard Deadpool, he's played Strategist Mantis, and he's played regular Duelist as well. He's on everything.
So far, so good, I think, for like Pulsar and ALTR Esports. 3 back-to-back best of 3s. It's a good showing, I think, but it's also like learning how these sort of teams are playing and adjusting. I really like that ALTR Esports like stuck to their guns almost. Like, they started off on like triple strategist, sort of pivoted over to like Ultron for the second point, which makes a lot of sense. Love how much Ultron we're seeing today, by the way. But also like, it could be easy to just panic and start to switch around a lot more. You've got Team Captain that was fall for a little bit, but then as soon as he changed over to Angela, did a lot when it came to like closing out that distance. A good choice of map, I think, to make sure that El Chabagood couldn't get much impact out of it. But at the same time, it's now the choice of Pulsar to go to the third and final map, which is going to be Convoy. It was Arako last time, so I would imagine it'd be more of the same, right? Just real quick. Seems that if they want to get Chabagoob his weight in gold, any Convoy map is going to be good for him.
Except Midtown, probably. I would imagine. Like, Spider Islands is probably your best bet at being able to go for those dive splits, but you could potentially still pull it out on the other convoys too, everywhere except Midtown.
I'm seeing Spider Islands hovered over. We'll see if that's going to be confirmed or not after this break. It's going to be finishing over on Spider Islands in this series, and Pulsar Esports, I think, are choosing to attack first. Tetra, we've seen not a huge amount of Spider Islands. I feel like we've seen more recently as previous to, like, say, in Ignite Stage 2, where a lot of teams avoided it like the plague. This is just all hands. This is just brawling a lot of the time, and considering that these, like, in less experienced teams from MRC going into Ignite, overtime fights and not being clinical on them can cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, we used to see Spider Islands basically only picked if a team wanted to go for just like portals and revives with Adam and stuff like that, just to try to hold as long as possible. But it's just not played like that as much anymore. Like, it's there, as Moxie was saying earlier, there's so many angles to dive on this map. There's opportunities to go for those split styles. It's just a completely different beast to what it used to be.
I think one thing I also wanted to ask you, Moxie, really is, like, Triple Strategist was used, kind of like Tetra was saying. Does it feel like Pulsar need to look a little bit more at, like, the Mantis being allowed through?
I mean, the Mantis was a problem, the Ultron was a problem as well, and Spider Islands having a lot of verticality pretty good for Ultron to be able to hide amongst those rooftops. I would imagine it's just like going to be a safety precaution to include a Mantis ban at some part in the draft. I just want to really see like what is the thinking about Chabogoob's hero pool, because like they went for the save onto Daredevil that should have been their win condition on Djalia. Was it a case of they dealt with it really well because it was Hall of Djalia and it was easier to deal with the Daredevil? Now when you go to Spider Island's convoy, do you still want to leave the Daredevil open? Is it going to be one of the first bans?
Before we get into draft, real quick from both of you, whilst I sort of disappear into the ether for a little bit, who's winning this series, ALTR or Pulsar?
I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards ALTR because I feel they're adjusting a little bit quicker. Like, Pulsar had a better draft in the first round and were able to adjust to what ALTR had drafted, but ALTR adjusted in the second series and seemed to have a bit more versatility when it comes to bringing in stuff like the Ultron and the Mantis.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you here, Tetch. I think like ALTR Esports, not only have they adjusted, they also have momentum with them, and that does a lot of things for teams in terms of the confidence when you're going into that last map. Yeah, exactly, the mental. As we get ready to head into our ban draft, Gambit is taken off of the table for both of these teams, but ALTR Esports actually going to be targeting out the Vanguard Deadpool, so removing that from Pulsar Esports team, but still allowing Sapatix Elsa through, as will Whoops be able to have access to the Elsa. So this time, no value of the Daredevil, no value for Chabogoob's hero pool instantly. Instead, it's going to be looking more at the Elsa versus Elsa matchup between the two duelists.
And Pulsar, they do not continue their anti-fish propaganda. They don't ban Jeff again, at least at this stage. They go for that Vanguard Deadpool, taking that away earlier in the draft, not going to risk letting it through, and then finally going to take out the Mantis. It was a little bit of a problem last time. It was doing a lot of work. That's going to at least lessen the possibility of triple strategies. Doesn't remove it entirely, as there are other options, but it does take away at least some of the options, and an early ban away from Loki for ALTR Esports.
Yeah, it takes out the Ultron as well, crucially. So we're going to get one-sided Loki on the side of ALTR Esports, though. Pulsar Esports, it wasn't a save on the Jeff. The last time they debated, they went back and forth about, like, do we go for this? Do we take out the Jeff? They have the opportunity to remove the Jeff now if they think it's still going to be a problem, as ALTR have already used up all of their save slots. It's not an instant. There is a lot of discussion. I think with the Loki save, it's sort of like, okay, are they really going to be playing the Jeff? Because you're not going to have Loki copying Jeff. You would have Loki trying to copy something like an Invisible Woman, and there we go. Invisible Woman is actually the target Pulsar turned to instead.
Now the final protect from Pulsar. They haven't protected anything like a Daredevil or anything like that for El Chabagoob. So do they use this last slot for that? Looks like yes. Daredevil taken away from the board. In ALTR, what do you remove? With already the opponent still having options for a Mantis, they're looking at the Wolves, trying to force him down that Daredevil route, and they will take that out.
I mean, they dealt with the Daredevil, right, on the previous map. It was rough when they were dealing with the Wolverine, though, because, like I said, you could play that Wolverine not aggressively, you could play it reactively. And Z-Cube on the Venom has opened up a lot of space for ALTR Esports. Whoops has been looking really, really good on the Elsa, but again, he's having a lot less contestant his way, because Z-Cube is literally occupying the attention of 3 people all at once. So not surprised that the Wolverine is actually taken off the field. Despite Pulsar going for a save onto Chabogoob's hero pool, it's still going to have an impact on what he has access to. If the Daredevil doesn't find the same value and gets counted the way we saw on Djalia, he loses one of the avenues to flex over to that was problematic for ALTR in the past.
Does now give Pulsar the option to go a little bit more heavier on the dive with that Venom. They didn't have Jeff taken away from them. ALTR also did not have Jeff taken away from them, despite it being banned the previous 2 series. But like you mentioned, they've got a Loki. They're probably not going to clone its Jeff unless they plan on carrying their opponents from one side of the map to the other, just in Jeff stages, and we're definitely not seeing that. So instead, we look at these defensive setups for ALTR. They've got the Namor, they've got Team Captain back on the Thor to try and catch people like Kizaru and like El Chabagoob as they dive into the backline.
ZQ bombed the mag though, not the Venom, which means that Pulsar Esports will be able to stabilize that full team and just walk forward, since there is literally nothing to distract them from just pressing W. So already we're getting to see the mag gets absolutely run over, and ALTR Esports have lost so much map space. They're basically fighting where first checkpoint already is, just to make a play, a last stand for verticality, and Whoops and Monarch to have positions to take chunks out of Pulsar Esports before the dive can actually commit.
Dive commit. Whoops trying to get onto Tree Man, but not too far. You don't want to get caught out behind one of those walls and immediately lose all access to your strategists. Altabagoob on the flank with the symbiotic shenanigans, trying to get onto the Loki, but regeneration domain forced out immediately, and that's going to allow Hatchrow to teleport away. All those Loki escape tools available to them right now. Team Captain finds El Chabagoob, tries to track him down with the lightning domain to remove the mobility, and succeeds in doing so. Great tracking here by Team Captain.
Yeah, dive peeled away. Pulsar Esports not going to be able to make a play now that they've lost that distraction technique in ALTR Esports backline, and with Monarch holding the high ground, they're going to be able to catch more eliminations off of that disengagement. As at Pulsar Esports, they're actually going to be making a few swaps. We had the Jeff, now we're seeing Legend move over to the Invisible Woman instead, so being able to keep up with more of that pressure from the brawl that ALTR Esports are trying to turn this dive tempo into.
Captain looking at the high ground, looking for Kizaru or El Chabagoob. It's a full wraparound to the side. It's spotted very quickly. And Thor looking for the dual beautiful pickup by Monarch, because they were marked fantastically. And now we're seeing Venom having just a real bad day. Tries to dive in, gets punished, tracked down by Exo, gets another pickup. And that was a flank attempt by Pulsar that just turned into so much ult charge for ALTR Esports.
That's in the more cosplaying a Hawkeye. Lapsus actually gets caught mid-Eternal Bond first dash before a healing can come on through with the Trident, and ALTR Esports deny Pulsar Esports engagement with the Eternal Bond, while also allowing their strategists to hold on to their ultimates to out-sustain the attacking side. Sapatic takes to the high ground rooftops, trying to put the pressure, forcing ALTR Esports to back up and allowing Treeman to close up the distance to get into position to use the Strangling Prison.
Classic has the Glass drops available, just looking for a spot to open it. Here comes the Eternal Bond, Strangling Prison. Whoops is able to disengage though, and in fact immediately re-engages onto El Chabagoob, chasing them all the way back. Team Captain is essentially an enemy spawn already, running them back with the Mjolnir to get those pickups. Whoops, and the combo between Elsa and Thor is so fast at just chasing people down when they're trying to escape and just giving them a miserable time. After that first push from Pulsar Esports, where they were able to break open that first hold, ALTR have not given a single inch. They've caught them every time, and we are down to our final minute with ALTR still having most of their ultimates.
I mean, Legend has the invisible boundary, but Whoops has the Apex Predator, Monarch the Horn of Proteus. Feast of the Abyss forces Hatchrow's hand into parting with the regeneration domain. Apex Predator, oh my goodness, almost got displaced fully where the Gartrox was coming from with the Thunder Surge, but Sapatic is able to carry the ultimate out and find the eliminations off of the back of it, picking the players outside of Hatchrow's ultimate and depositing them within the Elsa's primary crosshair. This is Pulsar finally making space, but it costs them so much, and they're still not past first checkpoint yet. Monarch's on the Strange. Is there an opportunity for ALTR to be able to stall out and touch? Team Captain's in charge of being able to come on through in time, and the portal is there as this loops. Everyone from Pulsar might be off the cliff.
Incredible Apex Predator with just 2 meters left to go. ALTR re-engage, overtime ticks down, and Pulsar, they don't have portal, they don't have bodies, and ALTR Esports with a miracle defense.
Oh, well, we might be in the season of spring, but Whoops says to Pulsar Esports, have a nice fall.
Hey.
What an Apex Predator, just carting them all off the cliff.
Oh my god, and Pulsar, we talked about the mental from after ALTR coming in with the momentum. That's not going to feel good. 2 meters, 30 centimeters, and all it took was Team Captain going for a runaround, full loop, grabbing heal pack, baiting out the Venom, and getting back in time for the portal to rejoin his team, and then Whoops showing just why they're regarded during MRC and now at Ignite as one of the scariest Elsa Bloodstone players in the whole league. Finding the perfect angle once again. I don't know if they're a math major, but it sure feels like it with that level of trigonometry.
I mean, I will say, we are no stranger to fuller holds on Spider Islands. The round is not yet complete until the checkpoint is reached. So Pulsar Esports can still complete a greater defense. The problem is, like ALTR Esports, they can scout the composition that they're up against and they can tailor their offensive composition against it. So Monarch on this Punisher might actually be stuck too, just so you can uproot Treeman's group walls, and Pulsar Esports are forced to give up more and more space.
Scouting out, they do see that group, so like you said, they'll probably stick on the Punisher for the moment to melt on through, as El Chaba Goob's going to be looking for that backline. Got to be careful. If he gets the engage onto Monarch, might get the blow up, but if Monarch can disengage with that smoke bomb, might be able to blow him up with the
he's been marked though.
Already coming in. He is marked. Doesn't matter. El Chaba Goob just gets flicked on as Woops flanks around to the side, looking to see if they can catch anyone out of position. Like, for example, the Legend, who will be eliminated immediately. And ALTR kind of doing a mirror of Pulsar from that first round, getting so much momentum at the start.
Oh no, these eliminations are split between as well. So like Pulsar Esports, they're losing players, but they're losing players at the wrong time. Like you said, Portal's coming, Team Captain's going to try and flank around and cancel it. But I think someone stepped into the path of the Angela to make sure that Kizaru can complete the circle and let Pulsar Esports have a chance of contesting this. They jump, but they've already lost Treeman, and now we have a sole Vanguard against ALTR Esports in full control of the space. Sapatic's being pressured by Whoops and the Elsa 1v1, and in the meantime, Hatra's just quietly accumulating God of Mischief charge. The moment he hits it, ALTR Esports will hit the gas and go forward with that Eternal Bomb.
Treeman returns to the fight. We see a lot of delay. Kizaru is able to hold on for at least a little bit longer. Sapatic stayed in the fight by dancing through the portal to get the healing and then make their way back onto it. But while ult charge builds up, Eternal Bond for Hatru. Aya Magamoto, beautiful Dark Force teleport to avoid the engage as ALTR take down one, make it two, and push their way through. Keeping their healing onto the backline. The strategists play patty cake as all that damage comes on in regeneration domain to keep Exo up to make sure that Daredevil finds nothing, and now it's all about the Punisher, literally becoming the final judgment and the final nail in the coffin. It's just full chase down now. Whoops finishes off the last straggler, and that is ALTR taking the round and the series. What a push!
The Wolverine was problematic. The Daredevil was expected and therefore predictable. Like Team Captain in that first fight, marking the Daredevil's position, spearing him off of the high ground and into the view of Punisher, who just absolutely melted the health bar. And then you just you cause that panic, you cause that disengagement where everyone on the side of Pulsar basically goes, we've lost our engagement. Give up this fight, disengage back, don't lose more players, have an opportunity to regroup and hold to the next corner. Yeah, that all gets cut off by Whoops circling around the back on the Elsa Bloodstone. Hatra, by the way, MVP, rightfully so, does not go down once in both of those rounds. That Loki was just absolutely invulnerable, it felt, in a lot of those fights.
And not just invulnerable, keeping up with their other strategists as well. You could see that last dive from El Chaba Goob as they tried to get into the backline, tried to get onto Exo, and Exo had already used the Dark Force teleport. They'd already used Dagger Storm. They had nothing, and Hatro was also being harassed by Sapatic and Kizaru. They were able to, one, invade Kizaru and Sapatic, reposition, set up a clone, regen domain, and keep Exo alive as well. Hatro just put on a clinic for Loki.
I mean, it's nice to see that ALTR Esports were able to turn things around after a rough day one, but you got a feel for Pulsar at the same time. Like, it's a rough introduction, I guess, to the organization, but just the fact that this series that was definitely winnable went the full distance, and it just felt that they ran out of steam towards the end, right, Mox?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, right? The momentum, ALTR Esports being able to deal with the Daredevil, a hero which Pulsar Esports put such a high priority on. You could potentially tailor some of it up to Pull of Djalia, not favoring Daredevil in the slightest with the amount of fights that happen on range. You can't apply that same logic to Spider Islands, and it felt very much like ALTR Esports. They just read Pulsar Esports' composition that they wanted to play. They were like, okay, we'll let you have the Daredevil, we'll ban out the Wolverine because we know how to deal with the Daredevil. And it is team captain on the Angela.
As we sort of highlighted as well, Tetch, it's like this seems like it's maybe deciding who that fourth team is going to be to go from playoffs. And you got Pulsar that have to play Team Heretics tomorrow, so they could very easily go 0-3 after this first weekend. ALTR Esports, I believe they do have Shikigami, so it's not like they get an easier time. Both teams have to play Peps. Maybe both teams win there, and then it's just a case of like this head-to-head means that ALTR Esports would go to playoffs. So there's a lot at stake unless there's some more surprises that both these teams can put together. It just feels like ALTR Esports more comfortable.
This really does seem to be the danger. You mentioned it. Peps right now is the real wild card. While we're still currently, we're obviously going to see how well Heretics do tomorrow to see if they're still on track to be one of the top teams in this group. But Peps put on a solid show as well. All these teams keep putting on really good performances because we're getting to see them in the neutral more, where we're getting to see individual skills. And then the teams that are excelling are the ones who seem to be experienced and are just putting on beautiful performances with great teamwork. But with ALTR getting that extra point on the board, now Pulsar's last chance is really Peps. They have to beat Peps and one of these other top teams that they have yet to face yet. And it's a rough situation to be in when you're looking to qualify.
About to put the majority of the Scottish talent of Marvel Rivals in this call because Team Captain is on his way. I can't think of any other Scottish players, analysts, coaches that I'm missing. It might just be you two, Moxie.
Oh, we're just going to have a conversation in Scots. We're going to just greet each other with, okay.
Yeah, I mean, all of the American viewers are like, not only still confused about yesterday, are just confused what that means. What's the point? But we do have an interview. We are going to bring in more northern people from the British Isles at the very least. And first and foremost, Team Captain, nice win. It must be a relief considering like you had a baptism of fire yesterday and then this was a full free mapper. Must be a relief that you were able to win out the series and also the final map. You kind of sweep them, really.
Yeah, I was really relieved that we were able to bring it back from map 1. I'm not gonna lie, we did get a bit of a scare after we lost that first map, but everyone just kind of focused in and brought it back.
So talk to me a little bit, because you're in a very unique position being a Vanguard player, but also starting off as a Wolverine player. What exactly was going wrong in dealing with the Wolverine to the point that when we went to the third map, you actually banned it out?
I'm not gonna lie, I think my team just respected the Wolverine's value too much to the point where they were scared to take space off the map. Because when I was playing Captain America and Venom, this guy was like permanently looking at me, just sitting with his supports the whole game. And I think they should have probably taken value off that. But the main issue is the fact that they have 2 cloakouts and the Wolverine can basically just walk around the map for free in those cloakouts. And he can also just farm ult charge during those cloakout fights.
So your matchup tomorrow is against Shikigami. Obviously, you've got so many matches coming up in a row. How much work are you putting into preparing for each team individually versus just generally focusing on your own game?
We're doing a lot of like studying into like what these teams are playing and like what their preferred maps are. It's good to know because like if you take a map off them, they could take you to like a comfort pick map, and if you're not good on that map, they can easily just tie the series up and take it to match point. So we're making sure we know what they like to play on these maps and trying to create the best draft possible for what they might take us to.
I do want to mention like individual performance because whilst you've played a lot of third-party tournaments like towards the tail end of last year, this is the first time that we've seen you like in Ignite or the Invitational since the Invitational, right? With you coming back to sort of playing Vanguard like at this level, what's been like the biggest culture shock since you've been playing on these like top teams? Because the meta's changed a lot, but also everybody's got better and the game is a lot more worked out. Not necessarily completely, but it's people have made strides on how to play this game. What's been the biggest shock to you, I guess, coming back?
I mean, like, I feel like I've been keeping up to date with all the pro play stuff. I've been keeping up to date with like all the metas. So nothing's really been as much of a shock to me. I think what's crazy to me mostly is how close each team is in skill. I feel like the gap has never been this close in the entire game's lifespan, and it makes things really interesting. It really does.
So you think there's going to be a few more curveballs in your group finally? Like, because there's some, you know, heretics, for example, Shikigami, like, you could definitely scare them a little bit more, I suppose.
I think there could be a lot of major upsets in Europe and the North American regions in terms of like who expects what team to win, because I'm not gonna lie, I speak for myself and probably behalf on most other pro players currently. We are still figuring out this patch and we're trying to make things work as we go along. This is very new to us, and like no one has the perfect draft for every situation. Every team plays something different. There's so much stuff you can play. So it's kind of weird going into a lot of things. It's not like black and white.
Yeah, it's learn by doing in its early days, yeah. But you do have a game very early tomorrow, so I'm not going to keep you too long. But thanks again for joining us, Team Captain. Congrats, and we'll see you tomorrow. He did get to say goodbye. Just saw his mouth open, and then we know that he was going to say goodbye. But yeah, I think it's like that is a relief, at least for these games. Like, yeah, you've got to play up against Navi, Shikigami, Team Heretics. They could all be tough opponents, Tetcha, but it's like the games that really define whether they're going to be making playoffs and making good strides towards stage one. It's games like this, and they made the most.
Yeah. Every single win matters. You need to beat, mathematically, if everything was to go exactly perfectly, you need to beat 2 teams in order to make it into playoffs. So you need to be better than at least 2. But the fact is, all starts with a first step, and being able to take that win versus Pulsar, even though it was quite a close match, it's so important for your momentum because you continue to learn, you continue to evolve. Now you're ready to head into the Shikigamis. You're ready to head into those other matchups you still have. You still have Heretics later on in the tournament as well, as we've already mentioned. It's not over, and it's not going to be easy for the rest of the road for the side of ALTR. But the fact is, they're getting moving and they're getting that momentum.
One final game to go over today. It's Virtus Pro World Champions. They had a pretty easy time yesterday in their series going up against Reason Gaming that want to make up for past mistakes as we saw against Vision. So we'll see how that goes after a break and then our final series of the day.